Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Collider Interviews YouTube channel, where we have Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist star Skylar Astin with us. I feel like I should ask you how you're doing and stuff, but oh my God, this season is so good. I'm obsessed with your show. I did not know how you guys were going to raise the bar after season one, but you do. And I'm excited to get into all the details with you.
I am so excited to get into those details with you. I have answers.
I'm looking forward to very particular answers right now. So just for everybody out there, so you know what's coming your way, in this video right here, we're going to talk about the entire season of Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, season 2, of course, minus the finale. So make sure you're caught up to that point. All right, let's kind of start at episode 2 here. In honor of the fact that Max and Mo's business and their professional partnership really took off and was very successful. Let's go back to some icebreakers. Give me 2 truths and a lie right now.
For me?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Or not. I see what's happening. Okay. If I can't think during, then you look like, oh, well, that's obviously a lie. He was like, okay. All right. Ready? I am currently building a deck right now at my place. I play the guitar, and my Little League team was undefeated, and there's a plaque outside my town for that very Little League team.
The guitar feels obvious to me, but 1 and 3 feel totally possible. I'm going to lean towards 1 being the lie and you having help building this deck.
Oh, well, whoops. I guess I played it wrong. I'm definitely having help build the deck, but I am building the deck. The lie is the guitar. I don't know how to play the guitar.
I don't know why.
Because I thought you just assumed because you're looking at, I thought people would just assume it's like when I say I'm putting in a deck, like I'm not putting it in. By the way, like I've helped, but no, I definitely have someone doing that.
I've just seen so much of your work and know how talented you are in the musical department. I feel like there's something about piano and guitar specifically that makes it feel like, you know, instrument number 1 for someone who is very skilled in that department.
Correct. I know. I've always wanted to play the guitar. I guess my fingers weren't ready for the calluses since I tickle the ivories more. I always wish I could. I play guitar and drums. And I guess I wish I could build a deck on my own, but alas. Also, I'm so impressed and flattered that you think it was even possible that I could do such work.
It's hard not to. I'm not leaving the icebreaker thing yet. Let's do a round of high-low. Give me 1 high from the filming of season 2 and then 1 low, and maybe how you guys overcame that low.
There was so many. Let's Get Loud and one of the songs in the finale, Big Group Number at Maximo, were such highs for me. Because there was just so many people in a room and it felt like a musical. And of course, everyone was tested and, you know, figured out. But it just felt like a simulation of doing a musical, like a real, like a theater musical again. I was looking in someone's eyes and just doing the choreography to them and finding the next partner you're supposed to partner up with. It was so fun, really joyful. That was definitely a high. One of the lows was so lame, but like, it's so cold in Vancouver at times, and I'm always working outside on the coldest days. Like the coldest, most biting days. Again, a scene in the finale was one of the coldest days I've ever been a part of, and we're getting this beautiful lighting shot, so we shot it at sunrise. And then another really cold day was in episode 9. I'm having coffee with Zoey, and she's trying to guess why I was singing the Demi Lovato song. And the biggest struggle was for me to open the sugar packets in the coffee and just look like a human being would, like just like a relaxed human being. And of course, in the scene, I'm not supposed to be really struggling with any emotion or anything like that. So I couldn't even lean into that. Also, like, you know, tears are streaming down my face, but not in a good way. I'm supposed to be casual. So yeah, I'd say just the cold.
I am the biggest baby in the cold, so absolutely no judgment coming from me right now.
Oh, once I start shivering, it's just awful. I mean, it's so embarrassing. Like Jane's just like coming up to me and like putting her hands on my shoulders, and I'm just like, this is so. All the wardrobe people, do you want another hot shot? Do you need? And they're like, do you want some long underwear? I'm like, already wearing it. I mean, it was just so bad.
I feel your pain. And the point is, it doesn't read on screen whatsoever.
I'm happy to hear that. Actually, when the cut was coming in, Austin's like, by the way, episode 9 looks great, as we were filming like episode 11 or 12. I was like, the one scene, all I need to know, do I look like a human or not a human? And he's like, human. So mission accomplished.
You brought up doing theater. How again do you shoot these the heart songs? It's a mix of pre-recorded and live singing, right?
Right. Well, it depends on like the Anyone was live, the New York State of Mind Reprise was live. I sang the Ed Sheeran song in episode 12 live. It's just like when you're kind of standing around, you can probably get away with it continuity wise to do, especially when you're moving a lot. It would just not sound great. So I'm always up there singing, like I'm matching my performance no matter what. Just so you get all the veins and the breathing and the breath. Like I'm not fully miming singing. Actually, sometimes I get into trouble because I, as an actual singer, don't open my mouth a lot, like in real life. So I'm legitimately doing what I would do. And then Charlie Alterman, who's a musical director on Broadway and is our musical director on set, always tells me to kind of exaggerate certain vowels and look more real, but I'm just like, I am doing the real thing. But yeah, that's kind of the way we do it as far as the vocals and the choreography, 1 or 2 rehearsals before the day. And we just kind of whip it up.
I was wondering if you had a preference between doing it live or pre-recorded, because I happen to have been rewatching the movie Les Mis for another interview, and it got me thinking about how unique that process was. So it's like, if you did a movie like that, would you prefer to be doing all of those songs live on set or have the option to pre-record?
Look, I think that like a lot of times, especially earlier on Zoeys, they'd be like, you want to just like try one live? And I'm like, no. Because, and by the way, I did it anyway, and it ended up getting in the show. Like Anyone was something we did the pre-record a couple of times, and we did literally 2 takes live or 3 takes tops, but and that's the one they ended up using. But like, the only reason why I say no is because I'm like, hey, there's so much infrastructure that goes into doing something live. I mean, like you need to kind of be ready to do that, and not even so much like warm up your voice, just like make sure it's right. There's so many things that kind of contribute to a take going wrong camera wise and just everything. Technically, you kind of want to make sure it's set up for that. If we're outside, like no chance we're doing it live. Just the street noise, you'll never get it done. So it's less about like can you pull it off, and just more about like every other department and element that goes into recording sound. So yeah, no, we've done it. I'm down. If it was like a movie like Les Mis that was designed for that, absolutely. That's my bread and butter. I mean, that's my first love is theater. So like I would love to do something like that. And anytime we get to do that on the show, it's like a real reward.
With all of those production challenges in mind that you just named, is there any particular heart song from season 2 that posed an especially unusual challenge that you guys had never experienced before?
A challenge in the preparation was in episode 2, the whole medley of Take Me Out to the Ball Game and I'll Make Love to You, and into the scene, which then leads to Zoey and Max's song, A Moment Like This. And I just think that because it was a whole act of television, it was just like a play. And so we just needed to rehearse it and tune it. And it really played well at the table read. But then when we got on our feet, it wasn't as clear, because I would think that I was doing something that was conveying my anxiety. But turns out, since I'm singing Boys to Men, it's actually sounding a little smoother or seeming a little bit more comfortable. So like, finding the physical manifestations of that anxiety and selling it, I was just like hoping that people would understand what was going on. Because it's also like there's a bit of, performance anxiety, literally. And I'm talking about singing performance anxiety, but also we are in the bedroom. So it's like, I hope people are not thinking it's that sort of thing, especially while my pants are around my ankles. So like just selling what I'm nervous about, and that I'm trying to stuff this song back in my heart, and just kind of cracking that code. And it was really fun. And I mean, we of course had our director, Anya Adams, and Mandy Moore, our choreographer, and our creator, Austin Winsberg, weighing in heavily on that. But Jane is such an asset, because Jane is Zoey and obviously sees everything through her point of view. And if it doesn't make sense to her, or she's not buying it or not understanding something, she's pretty vocal about it because she cares. And it's always met with success because she's always right. And she was in this case. Like if I was doing something that I thought had been working, and she's like, I don't know why he's doing that. It was so helpful to have her at rehearsal. And since it was early on, she was actually involved in the rehearsal process and wasn't, working every single day and every hour like Jane always is.
That's one of my favorite things to ask about. Just the idea of being number one on the call sheet for a huge ensemble show like this. And, not just being number one in delivering good work in that position, but also the way that you influence the people around you and the environment on set. And it sounds like she's a major asset in that department.
Beyond. She's the best. She's the absolute best.
All right, let's get into that flashback episode. I guess the first thing I have to bring up for that is I've never had more respect for Max throughout this entire show than when he chose to prioritize building the Jurassic Park T-Rex.
That's right. I've been stacking bricks since I was 5.
I have to know, did you actually build any of it, and did you get to keep it?
I didn't get to keep it. What I said was, and we actually, I think in the edit, it was up here anyway, so you didn't even get to see too much of my handiwork, but I wanted to make sure that at least like I could put the big pieces onto the big pieces. So I had a couple little like addition and subtraction that I would do for continuity each take. So I got good at like finishing the Rubik's Cube, but not at like doing the Rubik's Cube. That was the prop department, of course. And I just loved his whole attitude that whole episode.
That was definitely the part of the show where my eye for continuity was just like, it made my head feel like it wanted to explode, because I can't imagine doing that scene multiple times and deconstructing a Lego where I have a hard enough time building one once.
Yeah, I mean, we could have done the whole Western switch where it's like, you do it and then you take one out and it's fully completed. But we were actually in real time. Like, I think it was like a bit of the tail and then the head. So it was just like a little bit of torso to make it look defunct, and then building the torso and attaching the finishing touch.
These are the most important details that everyone in addition to me wants to know right now.
You have no idea how much thought goes into the amount of glitter on my face, the cucumbers on my eyes, and what kind size cucumbers. I mean, that is one thing about this show. It's like we don't just zero in on the musical aspects. It's everything.
I do love thinking about all the production design and the level of detail in that. Is there any little detail in Maxos that you hope people catch? Because it's so beautifully decorated that it's hard not to push pause and actually scan the room a little more thoroughly.
Truly, I think I did an internal video that should be coming out to someone's Instagram, whether it's Zoeys or Lionsgate, where I do a full-on tour, because it's just the construction and the geography of it even, and like how it works with the alleyways and how that connects to the kitchen and just the aesthetics. I mean, it's got Mo all over it, but the murals are beautiful. There are these really beautiful framed like oil paintings on the ceiling of the bar. So when you're in the bar and you look up, there's just like beautiful frames. That's one of my favorite parts. Also, in the finale, we explore that second level of Maximos quite a bit. And I think in a season 3, we would kind of play with that even more. It's just a beautiful space. Our set designer is so unbelievable. And to kind of like be in that space from its drippy, gross construction to half done in episode 5 with, when it was just one table at the Sage party, and then all the way through Let's Get Loud. And now we're just living in that space and having Mary Steenburgen's character in there. And just like in the finale, there's a huge group number at Maximo. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. And I know Austin and Mandy were really adamant that it felt like a space where dance could inhabit it. And we've done that quite a bit now. Our actual like stage is humongous. We have that huge spark point on one stage, and then the next stage over is all the houses and apartments. So it's the Clark house and Max's apartment, Alice and Andrew's apartment, Zoe's apartment, Mo's apartment, and then over is our swing set, which in season 1 we used for like the engagement party, but Maximo really took hold of it this year. And then behind that is where we kind of pop out, the therapist's office and all sorts of stuff. It's really movie magic. It's a big production.
It is absolutely incredible looking. I have one more flashback episode question for you before we go into the finale here. So I know that throughout the season, we were already learning a little more about Max's past, but was there anything that happened in that particular episode that maybe, filled a hole in the character, even for you, that kind of made you go, either like, like that makes sense that he would do a thing like that, or maybe I'm so excited to know about this quality and now dig into it even more than I was doing before.
I think a bit of his false bravado was really informative, and like his carefree attitude in the pilot. When we meet him, he talks about how he's not management material and he's kind of coasting at Spark Point and, you know, sees himself with a ceiling, but really informing that with like his insecurities about his dad, which, you know, we've of course touched on in present day and will continue to in the future. So that will inform the character even more, so that this has been something that's been a part of him forever. But what I really appreciated is just the dynamic between Zoey and Max. It was really unexpected. I always thought if there was an origin story, it would be they met, they clicked, they finished each other's sentences, you know, they were instantly making fun of other people, you know, but to see that there was this kind of meet bad, you know, not a meet cute, I thought that was really fascinating, and that they actually had a bit of a journey to go towards each other. And to cover all that ground in episode 12 was really a blast. I appreciated not giving a crap about what Zoey had to offer in those first few scenes, and really more focused on her lunch and the Frisbees and just making fun of her. And I think that that's not the typical move. And I was happy to play along with that. He's a little bit more immature and a little bit more jovial.
That episode was done so well, especially how well it then informs going back and rewatching the material with them, but then also with what's to come in the next episode. And speaking of which, this is the time where we say goodbye to all of our viewers who have not watched the season finale of Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist. Just in case you haven't at this point, you could press play and stream it right now on Hulu. So get on it and then click over to the next video where we continue the conversation.